I am Nathan Kroll, the producer of the three Martha Graham films. In 1955, I received a phone call from an old friend, Jack White, then general manager of the educational station WQED in Pittsburgh, one of two stations then funded by the Ford Foundation. WQED was planning a series of half-hour filmed interviews with distinguished artists and wanted to include Martha Graham. I agreed to try. I met first with Leroy Leatherman, the director of the Graham School, and Craig Barton, who managed Martha and directed her activities. Over the next 6 months, I met with Martha Graham a number of times to explore the possibilities. She told me immediately that a film interview was out of the question. She hated the camera, but a film with her company was a possibility. After weeks of debate, Martha decided she wanted to show her company at its best, going through their paces with explanatory interludes from her. The idea came to her from a near disaster while the company was on tour in Europe. The Graham Company had arrived in Amsterdam for a performance to a sold-out house, only to discover that the sets and costumes had not arrived. The company warmed up on stage, curtain time approached, and still no sets or costumes. Martha decided to address the audience about her philosophy of dance and introduce the company singly and in groups, who danced a series of studio exercises and dance combinations in their leotards. The improvisational evening was a great success. It sounded to me like a highly original idea for a film, and after seeing a few of the sections she planned, we agreed to set a filming date. Since my budget was limited, we filmed in the Graham studio for about a week with a live piano, which was not recorded until much later. The film rushes were wonderful, and I was sure we had something unusual. Now it was time to film Martha and her commentary. I rented a small film studio since Martha was reluctant to film where she could be observed by students or members of her company. A filming date was set for a Saturday. This meant overtime for the crew, but that's what Martha wanted, so I said yes. I also began to detect a certain amount of anxiety on Martha's part. Lee Leatherman worked with Martha on her text, so I would have a pretty good sense as to what Martha wanted to say. She had a way of finding extraordinary words and metaphors that were truly inimitable. The big moment arrived. I gave Martha a sign to begin, and after several sentences she stopped. I went to her to say that the day was ours and that we could make as many attempts as she wished. We made 5 more attempts, after which Martha fled to her dressing room and would not come out no matter how comforting my words through the closed door. It was clear that though Martha could address an audience of several thousand extemporaneously, the prospect of addressing the camera, over which she had no control, caused an irrational fear. She simply refused to go on with her narrative. The day's shoot was lost, and I was desperate. I remembered my friend John Houseman, producer-director, who was not only a man of taste, but who could charm the birds out of the trees. I asked Jack first to view what we had filmed of the company. His comment was, "It's as beautiful a piece of dance film as I have ever seen." Jack met with Martha and convinced her to complete the film, and it was agreed that he would stand behind the camera to give her a sense of assurance. I had a set constructed in a small studio to resemble a dressing room in a theater, including a rack of costumes and her personal maid in attendance. Martha sat making up as Jocasta in Night Journey. In between touches to her face and hair, she described her philosophy of dance and the capabilities of the human body. She also recited the narration sequences, which were later used as the dancers demonstrated. We completed the film and gathered every prize the world over. The great success of A Dancer's World allowed me to film Appalachian Spring and Night Journey, the only two complete works of Martha Graham's choreography in which she herself is dancing. Though Martha died in 1991, I find that I still speak of her in the present tense because it is difficult to accept that so challenging and supreme an artistic force is no longer here. One can safely say that there isn't a dancer or a dance company anywhere that has not been affected one way or another by the Martha Graham style and technique. When Night Journey, the last of the three films, was screened for Martha, I knew that she was apprehensive, and I told her to sit anywhere in the empty Movie Lab theater. As the picture rolled, Mimi Arsha, my editor, also sat somewhere in the darkness. When the lights came on again and Martha rose, I walked over to her. She thanked me. "It's beautiful," she said, "but I should have done this 10 years ago." However true, at the time Night Journey was filmed, Martha was 67 years old and still amazing.